Get ready to witness one of the most anticipated sequels in cinematic history as The Passion of the Christ 2, Resurrection, returns to the big screen, promising to take audiences on a journey like never before. The first movie, released in 2004, was a cultural phenomenon, depicting the final hours of Jesus Christ's life and his crucifixion. The sequel picks up where the first movie left off, following the story of Christ's resurrection and its aftermath. The movie promises to deliver the same emotional depth, spiritual resonance, and powerful storytelling that made the first movie a worldwide sensation. But what can we expect from the sequel? The details about the plot are still shrouded in mystery, but rumors suggest that it will explore the events following Christ's resurrection and his ascension to heaven. In this video, we will discuss everything, starting from its release date, expected cast members, to a possible plot. So sit back, relax, and let yourself be transported to a spiritual resonance. Before we begin, make sure you have subscribed to our channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon to keep yourself updated with our regular uploads. The second movie will reportedly delve deeper into the spiritual themes and questions of faith that were central to the first movie, providing audiences with a thought-provoking and uplifting experience. Be prepared to be moved, inspired, and spiritually awakened. The Passion of the Christ 2, Resurrection, is sure to deliver all the drama, emotion, and spiritual resonance that fans of the original have been waiting for, and so much more. The Passion of the Christ is a 2004 American biblical drama film directed by Mel Gibson, depicting the final 12 hours of Jesus' life before his crucifixion. The film primarily follows Jesus' journey to his death, focusing on his physical and emotional suffering, as well as the political and religious tensions surrounding his execution. Here's a detailed breakdown of the plot. The film begins with Jesus of Nazareth, played by Jim Caviezel, praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he is confronted by Roman soldiers and arrested. He is brought before the Sanhedrin, a Jewish council, where he is charged with blasphemy and sentenced to death. However, since the Romans have taken over the region, only the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, played by Hristo Shopov, has the authority to carry out the death sentence. Pilate is reluctant to condemn Jesus to death, as he believes him to be innocent of any crime. However, he is pressured by the Jewish leaders who fear that Jesus' teachings will lead to rebellion against the Roman Empire. Pilate ultimately agrees to have Jesus crucified, but offers the Jewish people a choice between Jesus and another prisoner, Barabbas, played by Paolo Di Vita, hoping that they will choose to spare Jesus. Despite Pilate's efforts, the Jewish leaders successfully manipulate the crowd into calling for Jesus' execution. He is brutally beaten and humiliated by the Roman soldiers, forced to carry his own cross to Golgotha, and then nailed to the cross. Throughout this ordeal, Jesus has visions of his past teachings and moments with his mother Mary, played by Maia Morgenstern, and his disciples. As Jesus hangs on the cross, he endures incredible physical suffering, including whippings, beatings, and being pierced with a spear. He eventually dies, and his body is taken down from the cross and placed in a tomb. The film ends with Jesus' resurrection, as he is seen walking out of the tomb and ascending to heaven. The Passion of the Christ was a controversial film upon its release, due to its graphic and unflinching portrayal of Jesus' suffering. Some critics praise the film's artistic and religious merits, while others criticize it for being overtly violent and anti-Semitic. However, the film was a commercial success, grossing over $600 million worldwide, and has become a cultural touchstone for many Christians. The Passion of the Christ received mixed reviews from film critics upon its release in 2004. Some critics praised the film's artistic and religious merits, while others criticized it for being overtly violent and graphic. Here are a few notable reviews. Robert Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3 stars out of 4, writing, "This is not a sermon or a homily, but a visualization of the central event in the Christian religion. If ever there was a film with the correct title, that film is Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ." Peter Travers of Rolling Stone also gave the film a positive review and said, "Gibson has created a fevered piece of filmmaking that has the power to stir the deepest recesses of faith and doubt even in the most resolute non-believer." However, other critics were less enthusiastic about the film. A.O. Scott of the New York Times wrote, "Mr. Gibson's fervent religiosity has curdled into a kind of sanctimonious bloodlust. The movie is so relentlessly focused on the savagery of Jesus' final hours that this crucial event in human history seems reduced to a nearly unwatchable gore fest. Richard Roeper of the Chicago Sun-Times also criticized the film, writing, "There are moments of undeniable power and raw emotion in the Passion of the Christ, but the movie is so relentlessly focused on the physical suffering of Jesus that it never fully explores the spiritual or philosophical implications of his death." While the Passion of the Christ was a commercial success, its critical reception was divisive. The film's graphic violence and religious themes continue to spark debate and discussion among audiences and critics alike. There is currently no official confirmation of the second part of The Passion of the Christ, but in 2016, Mel Gibson announced that he was working on a sequel that would focus on the resurrection of Jesus. It could be released anytime in 2024, celebrating the 20th anniversary of the first film. While details about the plot are scarce, fans are quick to predict some possible plots. The film would pick up immediately after the events of the first film, with Jesus' body being placed in the tomb. The focus would shift to his disciples, who are devastated by his death and unsure of what to do next. They are divided on whether to continue following Jesus' teachings or to disband and go their separate ways. Meanwhile, the Roman authorities and the Jewish leaders who orchestrated Jesus' execution are concerned that his followers will attempt to steal his body and claim that he has risen from the dead. They place guards at the tomb to prevent any such attempts. However, 3 days after Jesus' death, his body disappears from the tomb. The guards are unable to explain what happened, and rumors begin to spread that Jesus has indeed risen from the dead. Jesus then appears to his disciples, revealing that he has been resurrected and that he is the Son of God. He spends time with his followers, teaching them about faith and forgiveness and preparing them to carry on his message after he ascends to heaven. The film would end with Jesus' ascension, as he is taken up into heaven in front of his disciples. The disciples are left with a renewed sense of purpose and hope, ready to spread the message of Jesus' teachings to the world. While this is just a possible plot for the second part of the Passion of the Christ, it would likely focus on the themes of faith, redemption, and the power of belief. The resurrection of Jesus is a central tenet of the Christian faith, and a sequel to the Passion of the Christ could explore the impact of this event on his followers and on the world at large. While the sequel will be about Jesus' resurrection, the makers constantly keep referring to it as the biggest film of Hollywood. Do let us know in the comments down below if you're excited for the sequel to be released. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up.